Hello Internet, your friendly neighborhood gremlin here, and today we're giving Doc a children's library, because that was what he asked for. It's not a very exciting build, but I did do most of it half asleep, and so there may be more questionable decisions than usual. Also, I'm going to tell him this is a 2-story build, just because I kind of got used to doing that, but I was very tired, and so it is definitely only a 1-story build, along with the exterior, which, I mean, it's not good. I don't think. I mean, as much as normcore is very out of my comfort zone, at least I knew what I was doing. If we were aiming for kidcore-esque here, I suppose. I don't know, that wasn't logically in my brain at the time. I was just going for a cute children's library, but I suppose that falls into kidcore, maybe? If you're familiar with kidcore, maybe give me some tips down below, and then we can try this again when I have a full brain capacity. Probably not the children's library again. Although, I mean, I don't think I'd be mad tearing down this build to do it over, so if that's really what you want to see, we can just totally try the library again. Also, we're just going to ignore the wedding windows in the background and pretend that this is like a converted building or something, because I really liked the windows, and I acknowledge they are definitely not kidcore friendly, but again, I liked them, and so here they are. I love the way the cloud looks in between those 2 bookcases there. I think that is a really good thing that I managed to do in this build. Here we're trying to create a sort of sitting area where like story time would happen, I suppose. I was racking my brain trying to figure out what would be in a children's library, because I haven't been to one in many years, but I do remember being really excited about story time when I was younger. So I'm really sad I couldn't put more bookshelves in. I sort of imagine like the whole thing is encased in like a square of bookshelves. Or at least that's how it was at my library. But in Animal Crossing, trying to take pictures would have been the most miserable experience of my life. And so we just have the sort of 4 bookshelves off to the corner there. And then we'll have our little reading area. We'll have like a arts and crafts area, because we used to do arts and crafts after story time. Is that something people still do with children? I don't know. I haven't been around children in a very long time, but I do love arts and crafts. The top right corner is just sort of like a play area with some toys, I imagine, in case they're like siblings of the children who like the books, who aren't too young to read or whatever, and so they have some toys to play with. And then we have a little study area, which is what will be in the top left corner. We're going to move those couches. I don't know if I want to call them couches. Whatever it is they are, we're going to move them and put in some sort of desks for slightly older kids if they came to the library to do their homework. I of course have that magazine rack in that sort of mint color, which I really like, and I'm imagining that's like the new picture books that children will be excited about or whatever that they want to display, because picture books are so small with all the like little spines. So those are like the new releases for the things children are reading section. Here we're going to try and use the stage rug because, I don't know, it was a bunch of bright colors and I thought that's what we should have there. We're going to change our minds later, but I don't think we change our minds till we come back in after we're done outside. I stupidly painted the walls green, mostly because I wanted to use those windows, but then I look at things like the ladybug rug and I'm like, why do you have to only come in red? Because I personally can't do red and green together outside of Christmas. I'm sure there are people who don't mind that. It makes me upset. Here we're going to make that little toy box gray, which is probably not the decision I should have made. But the green sort of blended into the wall too much, and I don't think I liked any of the other color options, and so we just selected gray. Also, we've got our little arts and crafts and the pop-up book. Pop-up books are so fun. I used to make pop-up cards all the time. That was a fun thing to do as a child. Okay, I'm gonna have to tell you about one of the shows that I loved as a child. It's called Crazy Quilt, and I don't think it played outside of Canada, but if you are Canadian, or if it was playing where you were as a child, let me know. Essentially, the premise of the show was there's this woman and she was telling stories for kids, and as she was telling stories, she would build like the characters and all the props and stuff. So like we'd have arts and crafts breaks in the middle of the story. 10 out of 10, best show. She also had a raccoon sidekick, because all children's television has to have puppets or something. Why don't you tell me about a weird, crazy show that you remember as a child that not a lot of other people seem to remember, or at least don't talk about a lot? Anyway, now we're trying to put stuff on the walls, and we are going to leave the walls in quite a state. Don't worry, I'm going to come back in and fix it afterwards. We're also going to put a mobile in the bear's head, and I just forget that it exists until I was taking pictures. It was too late to change it. But I was half asleep. Here I'm gonna pull out 3 clocks, and like the exact same clock. I only meant to get one. I imagine I was just sort of dozing off and kept forgetting that I had selected that I wanted a clock yet. I don't know, it was a fun surprise for me. This iron shelf doesn't really fit anywhere, but also we put it on the wall anyway. Along with that little like cupboard thing, which I struggle to use because you can't set it directly next to itself. So it's very weird to just have one singular cupboard on the wall. Not entirely sure why it needs 3 feet of space around itself. Does it open? Is maybe that why? I've never tried to open it. Maybe it opens. Don't worry, we're gonna get rid of the scary elephant. Though it is going to take us a minute, and I'm pretty sure if I had space for both it and the lighthouse, the creepy elephant probably would have stayed. I don't know, I kind of like him. We're also going to change the house again. I don't really know what it was I thought I was doing with this house. It went with the fairy tale book library, but we are going to make it larger and pastel. This house you see here is just the interim house that I had to put in because it wouldn't let me put the house I wanted in because it was too big for the space. So we had to move stuff. It was never going to look like it did there. But anyway, I don't know. It ends up cute. And we end up with a bunch of yellow, turquoise, and white outside, which I suppose makes a lot of sense given that those are the colors on that jungle gym. Except for the awful green color. Why didn't the pastel one come in like a silver or something? The green seems like an odd choice. Our next course of action is to build ourselves a little sand pit, and then we are forced to resort to the bunny day fence. I mean, to be fair with all the pastels, I think it kind of goes here. It is also objectively not my fault, but all the other fences would only sit in the middle of the sand, or like 6 inches away from the sand. Why can't it just sit on the edge? This seems ineffective, but the bunny day fence was fat enough you can sort of hide it. Then I just round the corners. And then we add more bunny day things. Because, well, why the hell not at this point, right? Maybe the fact that the bunny day fence goes so well means this is secretly like Easter core or springcore rather than kidcore. I think kidcore does tend to have sort of brighter colors, maybe. Again, I know nothing about it. It's not my style. There are people out there who make it look really cute. I am not one of those people. Perhaps the fact that children make me very uncomfortable means I will never get kidcore right. I think maybe I should do this build again, but make it all sort of like naturey and whimsical, childlike, because that's the kind of child decor I can get behind. The stuff that looks like fairy tales and forests and that kind of thing. So maybe we'll pull that off next week sometime. Or maybe we'll just do other builds and come back to this later. Let me know if you think we should try this again on full brain capacity and not trying to randomly make it cutesy and kidcore-esque. I suppose it would still be cute if it were a forest. I do feel like maybe that's the way we should have gone. I suppose we'll just blame my inability to keep my eyes open and say that's why this happened. Because this is certainly a giant questionable decision. In defense of myself, I had a very large headache and could not sit up for more than like 10 minutes at a time. I did try to do this build lying down, but when I'm holding the controllers sideways, all the controls get messed up and weird and I couldn't walk anywhere and I didn't have the brain power to handle that at the minute, so I went to bed. Sorry, I'm sure none of you wanted me to ramble about that. But now we're going to add some little paper chains, and they can only go along one side of the wall at a time, because Animal Crossing is evil. Oh, and then we add the birds, because I felt like at this point in the build that I deserved the birds. And now you have to watch me fiddle with the birds, because there's going to be 3 of them. But when you're looking at it straight on, you can't tell depth. Like, so you can't tell that they're like different distances away from you, which kind of sucks. Though looking at it right now, it kind of does look like it's doing the depth thing, so maybe I was just wrong. Doesn't matter. Anyway. Now we're going to finally put a rug in our little reading area, and I'm going to make this mess a circle, because it was not a circle before. I tried to do it earlier, but my brain that is now more awake at this time in the build was able to conceptualize that the rug didn't fit because what I had made was not a circle. But it does seem that we have reached the end of our build, so sit back and enjoy the reveal, I suppose. I don't know, you can let me know how you think I did down below. Or if you have any kidcore tips, or if I should just accept that kidcore is not a thing that I can do, and instead we should make this like a fairy tale forest or something. Anyway, this is the end of our video, so do like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Goodbye!